Mountaineer Field, where we've got a hot one for you this evening. Gus Johnson, along with Charles Davis, my partner, and welcome to Morgantown. And CD, tonight we'll get a chance to see two of the top quarterbacks in all of America.
And dare we say the Heisman Trophy frontrunners. And let's start with West Virginia and Geno Smith, who's been scintillating all season long. Yes, they had a little bit of an off game last week at Texas Tech. They're looking for redemption tonight. We know Geno Smith is a tactician and a general from the pocket. But tonight, I'd like to see him use his legs a little bit more to keep drives alive and to sting the defense. That will create even more throwing lanes for his dangerous receivers.
Meanwhile, for Kansas State, Al Davis would love Colin Klein. Just win, baby, win.
That's all he does, and we know he's going to use his legs first. He is Optimus Klein, the big, strong quarterback who does keep drives alive running the football. But as soon as you play him strictly for the run, he'll go play action and hit you deep. So you've got to be very careful with that. The motion in throwing the football is not pretty, but the results, they're gorgeous.
So Colin Klein, undefeated, his team ranked 4th in the nation, ready to take the field here in Morgantown. And already, folks, tempers flaring. Kansas State tried to huddle up on the West Virginia WV, and things got heated in a hurry.
Let's go, win on 3, 1, 2, 3.
Win. Go hard, baby. Go hard all day. Take care of the ball. Great leadership. Lead the win on 3. 1, 2, 3. Lead the win.
You only got one motto, and that's win. Get ready to rumble.
Welcome in KSO Classic, the final one of Season 2. Mason Voth, Drew Galloway here, taking a look at 2012 K-State and West Virginia. It was the first of many highly anticipated matchups in the 2012 season for K-State. You know, you could say
second.
You could say actually, I guess, yeah. I would say the Miami one was more so than the Oklahoma one, because at the time, like, I think I don't think anybody was expecting K-State to go to Norman and get that win. So, like, you look forward to all these games. K-State's a good team, but the Miami one was a marquee one at home. After they get the win against Oklahoma, this is the one that everybody looks at, and it's like, this felt like a huge game, because as they set it up in the start, Gus Johnson and Charles Davis, you have Geno Smith right in the thick of the Heisman race, was yet to throw an interception, and obviously Colin Klein was surging into that mix as well. And so this felt like a big one. And when you have to go on the road, it's West Virginia's first year in the Big 12. So you don't know what the environment's going to be like, how it's going to play out for K-State. Like, I think there was reason to be nervous about this game. I would have been 14 years old when this happened. I was a freshman in high school. I watched this game in a Buffalo Wild Wings I don't know if I was in Lawrence or Kansas City, but I know I was with my cousins. My cousin that I spent a lot of time with growing up, he's 6 years older than me, but he was a student at KU at the time. So whenever my brothers had a soccer tournament and they had to go out of town, I was like, I do not want to go watch soccer all weekend. And so I would just always, hey, I bet I could go hang out with Logan. And he was nice enough to let me do that. So that's how 2011, I was in Lawrence for the K-State KU game, all this stuff. And so hanging out with him that weekend, we were at a Buffalo Wild Wings watching this game. And it starts, and there's some nerves, and then it just snowballs quickly into K-State's kicking their butt. Like, this isn't even going to be close. Like, it was pretty early on a celebration, so the nerves were eased rather quickly. And as you kind of talked about, they were showing promos the following week. K-State was right back on Fox with the marquee team against a top 15 Texas Tech team that had just won in triple overtime on this day at TCU. So there was a lot going on here during this time. And, people remember obviously how good K-State was, but I think it sometimes gets lost how good the rest of the Big 12 was being built up to be during this season. And K-State was the one that came out on top in it.
Yeah. K-State really was the beneficiary of what probably will never happen again. Like, the Big 12 was being hyped up pretty incredibly. I mean, TCU was getting hyped up during this game, during their game against Texas Tech in the highlights. West Virginia, by the way, had just lost 49-14 to an unranked Texas Tech.
Yeah, they got smoked.
Yeah, but only dropped from number 5 to number 13 because the Big 12 was being respected that much. Like that probably doesn't happen again, where you can lose by 35 and not fall almost completely out of it. You know my stance. I hate watch parties. We had a watch party for this game. There was a lot of...
I think a lot of K-State fans had a lot of watch parties in 2011 and 2012.
Yeah, I was going to say, because I also remember that we had a watch party for the TCU game a few weeks later. So there was a lot of nervous energy to begin. I mean, I was in 8th grade. One of my friends was in 8th grade, and his brother was in 6th grade. And all of the adults thought it would be fun, like if we did push-ups after every time K-State scored 2. And when you get to 3, you're thinking, okay, maybe this won't get super crazy. And then of course the game ends at 55, and we were gonna take turns, but once the score got high enough, we all had to do them. And
I was gonna say, I figured, this is the thing where you don't want to be the guy that's like, all right, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. So you start casually throwing out suggestions like, man, I don't know if this is a good idea. We might be a little tired to be like, maybe we should stop, but you got to keep doing them. You committed to it.
Yeah. So we committed to the bit, and I forgot how pretty much from the jump, you could tell K-State was going to roll. Yeah. Even though they only get 3 on the opening drive, like you could tell K-State was the better team. And I would love to know what happened to West Virginia after the Texas Tech game. The other thing that this really brought back memories of was the K-State mask video, and how that really went viral, and how funny it was, and and then somebody got to him and told him that he's got to lay off a little bit on these teams because they did go severely downhill after this one.
Do you know how many games Texas Tech or West Virginia lost consecutively, starting with that Texas Tech game?
Yeah, I think it was 4 or 5.
They lost 5 straight. They lost to Tech 49-14, K-State 55-14, TCU 39-38 in double overtime after a bye week. So they thought maybe, hey, no, 55-34 at Oklahoma State, and then 50-49 to Oklahoma. So, I mean, West Virginia is just like a lot of teams in this era of the Big 12 where they've got an awesome quarterback. They're going to put up a lot of points, but you could watch in this game, their defense was clueless. I mean,
yes,
this had to have been the most wide open that Chris Harper or Tyler Lockett ever were in their careers on a consistent basis, because it just, you would watch Colin make throws and it's like, there's not a West Virginia guy within 10 yards of this guy. And this is not just like the standard, everybody gets pissed off when K-State, the first down marker's here and you got to get like 7 yards, and K-State's like, we're going to play 12 off the line of scrimmage. It's like, what are we doing? No, this was like 20 yards downfield and there's 10 yards of separation between these guys. Like they just looked so lost. Now,
they looked like they didn't know that Colin could actually throw a pass.
Well, I mean, that was the talk in this game, like leading up and through it. I was like, I can't, Gus Johnson even makes a comment at one point. If you're wondering, like, okay, West Virginia ends up losing 5 games this season, they're overrated, whatever. Well, they were bumped up heavily because they had already beaten number 25 Baylor 70-63. And then they went on the road and beat number 11 Texas 48-45. So they had good wins. They were scoring a lot of points. And then, the loss to Texas Tech happens. K-State also smashes them, and it kind of goes down from there. But to Drew's point about the respect that the Big 12 is getting, this was the first week, this game, when it took place, of the BCS rankings coming out. So K-State was number 4. West Virginia was number 13 in those. West Virginia in the AP poll was number 17. The following week, after this loss, another blowout happens, West Virginia only dropped 6 spots in the BCS standings from 13 to 19. They dropped all the way to 25 in the AP poll. The coaches were still keeping them at 22. So, there was a lot of respect still going for West Virginia, and not just from the computer rankings here. So this was this was a really fun time for the Big 12 when you get 2 members like TCU and West Virginia to join in their first year, and they feel somewhat relevant, and you go, okay, they're really helping the status of the conference. that was a fun time. So, and K-State, year one got to experience both of these on the road and quickly get to know Morgantown and Fort Worth. So that is what we have for you today. Drew, let's get to rating the uniform matchup here. This is, my favorite, the road uniforms under the lights, and West Virginia. This is, a pretty iconic uniform for them.
Yeah, I give this a 7.5. This is an iconic uniform for both teams, but there was something off about the West Virginia portion of this that I didn't really enjoy super heavily. But this is still a good uniform matchup.
Well, that's more than fair, I think. They're not great uniforms, but they are iconic. I gave it a 7.3. I love the whites under the lights, silver helmets, all that. And I'll give some credit here. West Virginia's uniforms are really good right now, some of them, especially their white uniforms. If you do white right with the colors that kind of accent it can look really good. So I'm a fan of what West Virginia has now, some of their combinations. But let's get into this thing now and take a look at K-State and West Virginia from 2012. This is easily Colin Klein's best game of his career throwing the football. Will go for over 300 yards in this game. Tremaine Thompson gets the game started off on a pretty good foot, though, because he has a kind of a 50-yard return. They move him back a little bit, but it's a pretty electric start for K-State.
Corey Smith will send it away. $60,000 strong, sellout crowd, and we're underway for Morgantown. This one fielded inside the 5. Tremaine Thompson up the sideline. Thompson sprinting. Thompson all the way up to midfield. And more. Corey Smith, the kicker, had to stop him.
So good start there for K-State. Decent field position going. John Hubert almost loses yards on one of the plays. Ends up finding a way to manage 3 or 4 yards. So it becomes a third and manageable situation for K-State that they would end up converting thanks to Tyler Lockett. And this is the first of many Tyler Lockett highlights from the game.
Here's Klein to throw it. Klein over the middle. And caught. Lockett with the reception. A big first down, gain of 31 yards for Kansas State.
I also feel like that's a throw and catch that we still see on a lot of highlights before games at K-State.
There's a couple that you really see from this game, but you get that catch after that first kick return. Obviously, we have the benefit of hindsight now, but this is when I said you could tell K-State was probably going to roll. You get almost a 50-yard kick return, and then your first pass, you make a really good play on it. You're thinking, oh, it's going to be one of those, but actually a good thing. We don't say that much on KSO Classic.
That's very true. We do not. It is an odd thing for us to bring up. Okay, so we continue on. K-State Classic going to sputter a little bit, so they have to settle for a field goal. So Anthony Cantelli gets first points of the game. It's 3-0. They bring the West Virginia offense out. They highlight that Geno Smith has not thrown an interception in 262 pass attempts, basically trying to go and break Trent Dilfer's record that he had going. And I think he did eventually break it in this game, but we'll get to it. He does not come out of the game clean with picks, similar to RG3 in 2011. Arthur Brown all over the place early. You can just see it. He comes in, makes a tackle for loss on 3rd and 1, which forces a West Virginia punt. K-State will go out, soft coverage, common for West Virginia in this game. Big connection for Chris Harper and Colin Klein, and then another big throw from Klein to Lockett, and this includes Colin standing in there and taking a shot but still delivering.
Klein to throw. Klein hit as he tosses. Oh, what a catch. Tyler Lockett camping under it, but Colin Klein stood in the pocket and took the shot. And that's a gain of 35 yards.
What you're going to get is the route. It's going to be a flag route going to the corner. Chris Harper stops and makes it a one-person route for Tyler Lockett, who beats Garvin, the linebacker, first. And as you noted, partner, look at him stand there, and Jared Barber hits him right in the chops, and he drops it right in the bucket for a huge first down.
Do you like the Nike Elite sleeve that we see there?
It
very
is
much a sign of the times.
Yeah, I had that written down as something that was kind of like the sign of the times. By the way, you said soft coverage. What are you doing putting a linebacker on Tyler Lockett, even if you have the safety help? Like, he's going to be way faster than that guy.
And it just they looked so confused on what was going on there. So K-State's moving the ball. Colin Klein hits Lockett. They aren't going to take long to find each other once again, and it's going to result in K-State's first touchdown of the game.
Down and 10 at the 10. Klein wants to throw it in the end zone. Touchdown, Kansas State. Tyler Lockett over the shoulder. And they say Colin Klein isn't a throwing quarterback, but he's proven a lot of people wrong right now.
And his receivers have confidence in him, and they go get it. Look at this layout by Lockett. Wow. Foot down, has the football, takes it all the way to the ground. I think that's going to easily be a touchdown. Well-timed route, throw, and catch.
You had these West Virginia guys right here that immediately are signaling no catch, no catch. He got 2 feet in. Like, this would have been good in the NFL.
That's an NFL catch, but those guys just immediately are like, no, incomplete. No. That is the play I think that I associate the most with this game.
Yeah, this angle especially, like, it's perfect for this. And when you watch this, you start to think to yourself, like, so this is one where you don't once Colin throws the ball here, you don't know what's going to happen. There's so much there, like, you truly have to wait. There are times where, more so when guys are running straight down the field, the quarterback can let the ball go. And if his guy's beat and he feels like he put a good one out there, it's being caught. It's going for a touchdown. This is like he's throwing the ball. He's just standing there watching, waiting to see what happens. And I don't even, like, at this point, they don't even know that he's caught it yet. Nobody on the team knows if he, like, that's something you don't get a lot on the football field, but I think kind of fun and interesting just to think about that. But yeah, I think this is easily going to probably win our best play from this game.
I mean, that's also like on a rope. Like, that is where Colin was told to throw the ball. Throw it to the back pylon, and Lockett will go get it.
And like over guys, not just like to the exact spot he had to throw it, but the right trajectory and everything. So now we know why Colin wouldn't jump on the bandwagon of Hayden Cardwell. He's a math guy, all about calculating the trajectory. So K-State's up 10-0 now. They come out, kick off. Tavon Austin, big deal. The highlights on YouTube, whatever. Everybody likes to talk about those. Gossel, Kansas's own Weston Hebert comes down and lays the wood on him. Also, shout out to Weston Hebert. Saw him when my family was in Arizona for the Fiesta Bowl. And they were at, like, some of the players were at the same, like, mini golf and go-kart place that my family had gone to that night. And so I think there's a picture of me sitting in a go-kart next to his, and we're kind of talking before it gets going, because we mentioned in a previous KSO Classic having all of the posters and stuff on our wall, and not just like the posters, but hey, it's like, this is the little flip card that you would get at the game, kind of like a program. And they were making those poster style and putting up there. One of the games was Weston Hebert. And so it would put the hometown of these guys. And so I knew that he was from Gossel, and Gossel means something to me, because I was like, oh, well, I said, I know exactly where Gossel's from. Like, I was like, my grandpa's from Gossel. So we talked a little bit about that. So that was just kind of a cool thing there. West Virginia doesn't score. So K-State brings the offense back out. Yeah, common theme. First quarter is going to get ready to end. Colin Klein starts the game 7 of 7 passing. His first incompletion, he missed a wide open Chris Harper. Like, it could have been a big play right there. second quarter starts. K-State continues their drive. You get a heavy helping of Angelo Pease to start the drive, and they just kind of move the ball down the field. And then this is probably one of the endearing images of this era of K-State football, and it's a Colin Klein quarterback sneak.
10 rushing touchdowns, 9th play of the drive, 2nd and goal, Klein, quarterback sneak.
When he falls forward, it's usually a touchdown.
Really letting the boys play there. I think most refs would have probably blown it dead at that point.
Yeah, it's easy to see why calling it's a little bit dinged up later on in the season, because they really let the boys play back then on the QB sneaks.
Yeah, I mean, this just turns into like, some free shots or hands going in there. It's a lot of pushing and shoving and everything. But K-State's in with another touchdown. And this was, I mean, Dana Holgorsen looks like he's about to cry here. Like I think this image should be up there more with like even the Gunnar Gundy hands of when you're, thinking, oh, this is not going well. Now we'll get to it. There is a very iconic clip from this game of West Virginia sadness later on. But yeah, this one kind of stood out to me. I was like, I mean, that looks like he's lost, doesn't know what to do. Probably a face of a guy that knows that they are severely outmatched.
He legitimately looks like he's about to burst into tears in any second.
Yeah.
He also looks incredibly young in this game.
Yeah, how old would he have been at this point? He probably doesn't get that much with the hairline situation.
No.
Yeah, he would have been. I mean, he would have been pretty young at this point. He's only 41.
Yeah.
I tell you what, you look at some of his stuff now from like when he's at Nebraska. Like I'm seeing his press conference from 2 weeks ago. It's been a hard 14 years for Dana Holgorsen since this moment. I think this maybe is what started the aging process for Dana Holgorsen. Was this game? It was all fun and games in the Big East, and you're this hot shot up and comer, and now all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay, never mind.
Yeah, you could argue that this five-game losing streak probably did age him quite a bit.
So there you go. K-State now has a 17-0 lead at this point. They go to the break with a little Radioactive by Imagine Dragons. That's also just, I mean, that's pure this time. That's, I mean, where were you the first time you heard Radioactive by Imagine Dragons? Because I was sitting in my truck getting ready to go umpire baseball at McQueen Field and in Cary Park and Hutch. And it's like, oh, that's a seminal moment. And then, a few years later, we get Nick Faldo singing it on the Masters broadcast when Patrick Reed wins it. So that was something that stood out to me.
I think that we were in a gym, in gym class the first time I heard Radio.
I thought you were going to say you were like a Washburn rural basketball game. It's like that would check out. That would go hard at a high school basketball game. So West Virginia doesn't score. We told you that was going to happen. And Colin Klein keeps just throwing the ball all over the place, and this is the next strike.
State, first down at the 31. Play fake, Klein sets up deep, lets it fly. On the button, lock it. I thought this kid couldn't throw it.
Everyone keeps saying that, and you and I have talked about this over the 2 years we've been together. And I think we've come to a consensus. We don't care how it looks. Does it get there? Is it on time? Is it in the right place? Colin Klein will never be a training tape for how to throw the football. But who cares? I don't care if he's on his head. I don't care if he's throwing it behind his back, drop kicking it off the stadium top. That ball's getting to his receivers with dispatch.
A 19-yard gain, first down and 10 at the 22. Hubert. Darwin Cook comes up and makes
Charles Davis must have not seen the Miami play if he's saying that he doesn't care if Colin throws it behind his back.
Yeah, easy to overlook in that one. Man, yeah, that's we are going to do the 2012 Miami game, I think, next season for KSO Classic. So I think we already have it penciled in for what the worst play is. However, that's one where if it works, we're calling that the best play of that game. So I respect the creativity, but I don't know. Next year at Media Days, that's probably something that we pull out and we ask Colin if they're working on that for the team. So, all right. 24-0 is coming right now because Colin Klein is going to keep it, run in another touchdown in this game. And this, again, common for the year.
Klein runs the option, keeps it, turns, touchdown, K-State. Wow.
As he comes down the line, it's the patience again. This time, he's going to have the option of pitching it or tucking it. See, right here you got him taking the pitch, and he tucks it inside because he sees the momentum going the proper way. They're all the way outside. He sticks a foot in the ground, turns his shoulders upfield, and barrels his way into the end zone for another Kansas State touchdown.
A nice little brotherly moment right here where I don't think Colin at first realizes that it's Kyle and then turns around and smacks him in the head. This play, first off, when you see this angle, you go, if you weren't paying attention, you're like, did they really just run like option with only Braden Wilson right there? Would not have been shocking, I guess, given what K-State has tried. But this shows you how in their head defenses were when playing against K-State at this time period, because nobody's even going to touch this first West Virginia defender here. He just stands right there. He's worried about John Hubert. He's probably doing his job. And then this guy, this isn't a lot of room to work with. Last week we watched Deuce Vaughn, and it's like, that guy has no chance in that amount of space to like try to make a stop in any way.
Here's the deal. That guy shouldn't even be able to touch Colin. Braden Wilson totally whiffs.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. Is like Braden Wilson's anticipating, for what reason I don't know, he's anticipating this guy to go further out towards the sideline, thinking that's where Colin's going, and he just cuts it in. But like the space that he makes this guy miss in is minimal. Now, you could say that this guy leaves maybe a little early because he's trying to avoid getting caught by a block, but pretty impressive. And by the way, this will be the play that is the thumbnail graphic for KSO Classic. I wasn't sure. Well, I just pulled a picture that I thought was good, and you could kind of tell it was at West Virginia. And as we watched the play, I go, oh, I know exactly where that's from now, and it's this play right here. So 24-0, K-State has the lead on the Mountaineers at this point in time. The route is officially on. However, brief moment of life for West Virginia because Tavon Austin does get his kick return touchdown on the next kickoff. So there's some life for the Mountaineers. The energy's coming back to Milan Puskar Stadium, and everybody's feeling it. And then once again, it's going to be Colin Klein and Tyler Lockett to start ripping their hearts out.
No one going up and really challenging the receivers for Kansas State.
2nd and 10. Klein, he does it again. This time on the button. Tyler Lockett with the catch, and it's a gain of 44.
Well, you miss one, and again, that's at least a 12-yard cushion, a double move that Carl Joseph, number 8, bites on, and Tyler Lockett runs past him. I'm not sure what the West Virginia defensive backs are looking at in terms of their eyes and their keys, because one move takes them out of their coverage very easily.
Lockett, 6 catches, 140 yards, and a touchdown in the first half.
Yeah, you guys, you'll never guess. Yeah, you'll never guess what happened right there. K-State has to try to use a timeout, rushing as the clock gets to 0.
Carl Joseph ends up having a nice career at West Virginia and plays in the NFL for a little bit. He didn't have a great game here, and it especially gets highlighted on this play specifically because I don't know if you picked up on this. They ran this exact same play on 1st down, and Klein just missed it.
Yes.
Like they were just like, it didn't work the first time. We're calling it again, and this time Lockett was less open, but Klein actually got it to him.
Which, if you think back to what Curry said during 2014 Oklahoma, was that Dana Dimmel loved, if they ran a play well, to just run it again. And you think about that, where if you go from, okay, hey, we just missed it, it makes a lot of sense that they would just say, let's try it again. And this was a very common thing in this game for West Virginia's secondary, where they just zero resistance. It's been said numerous times already. And they did make a point that this is Carl Joseph. He's a true freshman in this game. And he did not have a good one here. So K-State in business now, and K-State is going to face a 3rd and 7. So it wasn't a certainty that they were going to be able to get points here. But Colin Klein's going to come, run, get hammered, and set up another one of his goal line shoves.
3rd down and 7.
Look for the pressure to come from West Virginia's defense here.
He's the pistol back. Here's the option. Klein takes it. 1st down and more. Colin Klein down at the 1.
They brought the pressure, but they came into the watch. They go inside here. That leaves all that out there. There's no one as they run off the secondary guy. Look at this. There's no one there. Klein's just running to the corner. No need for a trail back. The big fella going, Darwin Cook, is the only reason he doesn't get into the end zone with a saving tackle.
1st down and goal at the 1. 29 seconds remaining in the first half. Here's Klein. He's got 2 rushing touchdowns. Make it 3. Once again, Colin Klein finding the end zone, and Kansas State takes a 30-7 lead with 17 seconds to go.
So, pretty good first half for the Cats right there.
Yeah. Shout out to Bill in this game. We talked about it in the 2012 Texas game that we wish Colin would have had more touchdowns. He really let Colin eat in this game.
Yes, he did.
You got it at the 1. We're running it with Colin, and you're not doing anything to stop it. Like, he does that a few more times during the season. Who knows? Maybe Colin wins the Heisman anyway.
Or maybe Colin isn't even healthy enough to play against Baylor or TCU,
I mean, my what if is a little bit more fun than yours.
I like the thought of that. I do like the thought of that. And we know that he's kind of an Iron Man, so he probably would have been able to handle it. Okay, so second half starts. Remember, Geno Smith still hasn't thrown an interception this season for West Virginia. That is about to change thanks to a really nice play by Randall Evans and Arthur Brown.
All right, he's the only guy that runs away from me.
1st down and 10. Duly noted, Julie. At the 9, Geno Smith. All deflected. Arthur Brown intercepted. It's gone from bad to worse for West Virginia. First interception of the year for Geno Smith.
Take a look at the coverage here. Okay, you're going to see Randall Evans, 15, reading the coverage, and he falls back into the play, tips it up, which he has done numerous times this year. That's the 3rd tip ball by Randall Evans this season that's resulted in an interception by a teammate. Plays the nickel back for them, tackles well.
They had that set for Randall Evans ready.
No, yeah. Also, real quick, I just want to point out that you remember the conversation we had not that long ago where I said, think about these songs or these things that teams have to get ready to play when you're clearly in trouble, but you have to try to get the crap. That's what happens here when you can hear Crazy Train starting in the background as West Virginia's down 31-7, and they've just turned it over inside their red zone to start the second half.
Here. Okay, you're going to see Randall
just
Evans,
listen
15,
for it.
Reading the coverage, and he falls back into the play, tips it up, which he has done numerous times this year. That's the 3rd tip ball by Randall Evans this season.
Yeah, and the crowd's really fired up at this point as they're walking out of the stadium. They're like, yeah, this thing is over.
There are some really good celebrations in this game. The one after the interception is not one of them.
No, this is bad. This is a tough look for Ryan Mueller right here. I mean, you see how guys get injured celebrating on this. Like,
Who do we think
Arthur?
is at fault
Look, I
there?
think Arthur Brown intentionally did that to him. Look, Arthur Brown is telling him, or maybe he was just clapping and they took it as a go up. But this looks like a go up. Yeah, and then he just stays low. I mean, he fakes out Trey Walker and Ryan Mueller right here.
Who do you think was supposed to go up that, who do you think is at fault there, Mueller or Trey Walker?
Oh, I think Arthur Brown's at fault. I think he either intentionally did this to them or they misinterpreted his excited, like hands up, getting ready to clap thing for let's go up. And then he just stayed down. But the staying down thing is what makes it very strange. So I think this is an Arthur Brown goofing on these guys moment.
It is easy to see how guys get hurt celebrating because I can't imagine that Bill was extremely thrilled if he saw that, which Bill had eyes everywhere, so he probably did.
Yeah. All right. So K-State gets the ball and they are in business. We've talked a lot about Colin Klein, Tyler Lockett, Arthur Brown in this game, just stalwarts of this era for K-State. One, though, that, at the time, like this was the guy, he was the leading receiver on this team, is Chris Harper. He's had some moments, but he's finally going to get his biggest one of the game with a really nice touchdown catch that in the moment you go, that's a nice grab. Then when they show the replay and closer up angle, you go, oh my goodness, like that was really impressive.
Touchdowns in the first half. Klein, pump fake, over the middle, caught, touchdown, Wildcats, Chris Harper, and Colin Klein put that football in a shoebox.
And he had to. Did you see the coverage? As he released the ball, I thought to myself, this is the first mistake he's made in the throwing game tonight. Watch where he puts it, and look where the blue jerseys are. Look at that. And even got away with interference. And Harper comes up with the ball because Joseph grabs him before it gets there. But Joseph had no idea where the ball was. And that allowed Klein to fit it in. What'd you say? In the shoebox? Right in there. It's perfect throw.
You've got to feel defeated there if you're West Virginia. Like that, you actually covered a guy. And they still found a way to score.
Impressive throw or stupid throw?
Stupid.
Yeah,
Great
that
catch.
had a little Will Howard 2022 to it, where you just go, "Yep, this is this team's year. This guy's hot. You're not doing anything about it." There's a little bit of impressive to it. Like it wasn't a good spot, but there were a lot of guys there that probably could have ended up with the ball. So K-State now up 38-7. They come out immediately, force West Virginia backwards. They get all the way to 3rd and 16. Meshach Williams is going to record a sack, so it pushes them back even more. So it's 4th and long, and West Virginia then gets a penalty. The ball is basically, the line of scrimmage is basically the goal line. So they punt in that situation. You don't have much good that's going to happen. Tremaine Thompson brings it inside the 20-yard line for K-State, and it's going to set up another rushing touchdown for Colin Klein.
Quarterback sneak. Touchdown.
That one a little bit easier for K-State this time.
Yeah, they didn't let the boys play as much this time.
Didn't need to. They were able to get it in. So 45-7 now for K-State. And I mentioned earlier, when we were talking about Dana Holgerson looking like he was nearly in tears, there is a very iconic clip from this game of frustration, and that is the Geno Smith tarp slap that you still see a lot at K-State games.
Touchdown, he threw a chair. Very frustrated down here.
Also threw a chair, apparently, as the silent report that we have never heard of and have never heard from again in this moment. But yes, there it is, the Geno Smith tarp slap. And this is a tough moment because everybody's done stuff in frustration before where you're mad and everything, and then something goes wrong with it, and you look like a fool. Like, when you're pouting and you're mad, whatever, people are kind of, okay, this guy. But you're just like, all right, he's mad. We'll let him have it. once the tarp smacks you, like, this is just embarrassing at this point. Like, to come back and get him in the face. So a tough look for Gino right there as he tries to lead the West Virginia offense back out there. It's not going to work out. He did not channel the frustration into anything good because he's going to throw his second INT of the game as West Virginia is trying to move the ball, but Ty Zimmerman is going to get the best of him.
Now that was a training tape.
Smith pumping. Intercepted. Wow. Zimmerman.
And Zimmerman goes down to the 24. Second interception of the night. Second interception of the season for Geno Smith. Kansas State with all the answers tonight in Morgantown.
That's one of those with the way that Colin Klein was throwing the ball in this game, in this season where he was putting it. You kind of think like Colin would have found a way to throw that ball with the touch to like complete that pass. There was, you could have made a case that there was something there, but too much of a bullet for Geno trying to get it to his receiver. So the last thing that we have for you here is another Klein to Lockett connection, and this will record K-State's final touchdown of the game.
He's ready to go, and he says the same thing every time we talk to him. Oh, well, we're going to try to get better.
And we see each and every week they do exactly that.
Here's Klein to throw over the middle. Caught again. Touchdown. Tyler Lockett.
Stop, okay?
With the touchdown from Colin Klein. A career day for Colin Klein.
I think there's a lot. You get good hot mic stuff here from the team celebrating together. So you get the receivers talking and telling each other to stop, and then the Colin coming in with, I don't know what noise he's making right there, but it's one that I think probably needs to be clipped and used whenever K-State is scoring touchdowns this season.
Tyler Lockett.
Stop, okay?
With the touchdown from Colin Klein. A career.
So there you go. That's the last touchdown of the game. Daniel Sams is going to get into the game. Looks like just an all-star. Leads them down the field. They get a field goal out of it. So 55-14 ends up being the final score because West Virginia does get a touchdown after this drive for K-State. And reminder, all those touchdowns were in the third quarter. Like, so K-State, you go, why are the starters still in the game? But there was still a lot of time left. And not that you were worried that K-State was going to lose the game, but that's just one of those where you go, this is too early to like take our best players out of the game. It just feels really weird. But
I also 100% respect that because West Virginia was so hell-bent on trying to stop the run, that Dana Dimmel and Del Miller and Bill were like, 45-7 with 2 minutes left in the third. You're still going to put 8 guys in the box. We're just going to hit you over the top.
Yeah. So for K-State in this, they score on their first 8 possessions of the game, 7 consecutive touchdown drives after they open with the field goal from Anthony Cantelli. So that's really impressive. You talk about coming out and just throwing the ball all over the place. Obviously, people know Colin Klein as a runner. This to me is very reminiscent of what K-State went to Morgantown and did in 2024 with Avery Johnson, where you're like, I don't know, he can't really throw the ball. He can't do this, whatever. And then he goes to Morgantown and he throws for 298 yards on 19-29 passing, 3 touchdowns. Like, just something about these quarterbacks and going to West Virginia. Plus, I guess I could go look, what was Will Howard's 2022 like at West Virginia? Because he threw it all over the place. Now, he did have one, I think, pick 6 that he threw in that game.
Yeah.
But
that game was wild.
Yeah, Will went and threw for 294 yards and 2 touchdowns at West Virginia. He also had a rushing touchdown in that game. So K-State quarterbacks, when I was in college, K-State played some really crappy games in Morgantown, 2016 and 2018. But everything else around there since West Virginia has been in the Big 12, K-State has gone and put up some serious numbers when they've played there. I'm looking here. because Jake Waters had a pretty big game there in 2014, I believe, at least numbers wise.
He almost threw for like 400 yards.
He did throw for 400 yards.
Yeah, because K-State only had like one rushing yard.
Yeah, and K-State only scored 26 points in that game, but 400 passing yards in that game. So K-State quarterbacks have torn up West Virginia through the air over the years in Morgantown. But that will do it for the highlights from this game. Now we get into the trivia question. This was an Aflac trivia question game where they asked, there were only two teams that had started 6-0 the last two seasons, K-State and who was the other? And the answer was Alabama. So you have that. Well, reminder, we like to have our own trivia question here. So here is the Roback trivia question for this one. A reminder, you can use KSU 20 for 20% off. Tyler Lockett caught 5 touchdowns in his career versus West Virginia, the most of any Big 12 school. Can you name the 2 opponents he caught 4 touchdowns against? Also, I got a bonus for you, Drew. Of the 9 primary Big 12 schools that Tyler Lockett faced, so this does not include Texas A&M and Missouri, who K-State only faced in 2011 when he was there. Only one of those 9 schools Tyler Lockett never caught a touchdown against. Can you name that school?
Okay, so I think that one of the 2 opponents is Oklahoma.
That is correct.
Is the other one of the 2 opponents TCU?
I'm going to have you wait on that answer, Drew, and we'll do the Roback ad read real quick. College football is right on the doorstep, and whether you're hitting the road to cheer on your favorite school, an alum repping your alma mater, a current student, or a diehard tailgater, Roback has you covered. There's only one way to describe Roback. Best fit, best feel. Roback is changing the game with incredibly comfortable premium activewear that performs just as well on game day as it does every other day of the week. This season, Roback's licensed collegiate collection is bigger and better than ever, featuring premium polos, Q-zips, hoodies, and more for many of your favorite schools. With elevated designs and unmatched comfort, no one else is combining this level of school pride with performance apparel quite like Roback. Roback has become the Saturday standard, partnering with many of the game's biggest stars, past and present, while continuing to invest in the next generation of athletes through one of the nation's leading NIL programs. From elite players to passionate fans, Roback is setting the standard for what college football looks and feels like on and off the field. Whether you're watching from the stands or taking the tailgate scene by storm, Roback is built for every part of the football season. Use the code KSU20 on Roback.com for a generous 20% off for all new customers. That's spelled RHOBACK.com. 20% off all performance polos, shorts, and more with KSU 20. It is not TCU. That is incorrect.
Oh, I figured it was TCU because I know they had big games against TCU. He had a big game against TCU in 14. I thought that he did in 13 also.
So he had good games against TCU, only caught 2 touchdowns against them. The other school that he caught 4 touchdowns against was KU.
That was going to be my second guess. I like that you limited me to 2 guesses.
Yep. Can you name the school that he never caught a touchdown against in his career?
Is it Baylor?
Not Baylor. He actually caught one in the 2012 game and the 2014 game. Or no, actually, no, not in the 2012, but maybe it was 12. One of those he caught one, but he only had 1 touchdown catch against Baylor. Texas was the other school he only had 1 touchdown grab against in his career. Pretty notable one, the Brad Nessler, look it, that we've talked about. I'll give you one more guess here on who it is that he caught no touchdowns against.
Did he not have one against? Ooh, I have a sneaky guess because I know that for one of the games he was hurt because Curry reminded us that he was hurt. Was it Texas Tech?
Not Texas Tech. He had 2 against Texas Tech. It was Iowa State. Never caught a touchdown against Iowa State in his career in Manhattan.
That's crazy.
Yeah, kind of surprising.
I just assumed since he was hurt against Texas Tech, I knew that he had a kick return, I think, in 2011 against Tech. But, I didn't remember him actually scoring on offense.
Yeah. Look, Tyler Lockett in his career against West Virginia, really good. 27 catches, 5 touchdowns, 501 yards in 3 games against the Mountaineers.
I had an idea when I saw your tweet last night that, you were going to do a Lockett-related trivia question.
Yeah, I go through and I kind of look and I'm like, man, okay, that's really impressive. And I don't know how it started, but I guess maybe I started to think, okay, if he did this to them, like I knew that he had a really good 2013. And then you go down, you're like, oh my gosh, he did it in 2014 too. Like he just tore these guys up. So that's really impressive there. By far has to be the best his performances are against any opponent in the Big 12. Oklahoma, he was good against, obviously. Kansas, we talked about. Like him and Jace Brown are the ultimate KU killers in what they've been able to do statistically in those games. Now, in this game in particular, the final line on Tyler Lockett, 9 catches, 2 touchdowns.
9 touchdowns.
That would be crazy. 194 yards. And obviously, he's the recipient of 9 of 19 completions from Colin Klein, who threw for 3 touchdowns, 323 yards in the air, and then ran for only 41 yards, but 4 rushing touchdowns in the game. So all 7 touchdowns included Colin Klein in some way. So if you're doing the math on this here, if you were playing like fantasy football, you get 24 points for the rushing touchdowns. You get 4 more for the 40 rushing yards. So you're already at 28. Then you get a point for every 25 yards. So you're getting almost 13 points from the passing yards. So that's up to 37. I like to do, it's still 6 for a passing touchdown. So that's 18. So you're up to 55 fantasy points for Colin Klein. And I know, you don't always play fantasy football, but I think it is a fun way to kind of contextualize what a guy did in a game. And this is certainly significant here, what he was able to do. So really impressive, fun to look back at and kind of go see how K-State was able to complete this 55-14 win over the Mountaineers.
Yeah, I think that this is easily the best game that he plays. It really solidified him as a Heisman candidate. And Charles Davis and Gus Johnson talk about Colin being the front runner after this game. I'm gonna throw this out to you because we've talked about this a few times. Colin only scores 1 time against Oklahoma State, period. He only gets 1 against Oklahoma in that game. He only had 2 in the 51-9 win against Missouri State. You got to get him more TDs.
Yeah. Yeah, it's you certainly left some on the table, and we talked about that. The Texas game in particular, where you're watching running backs, and you're like, I get it, but you're trying to win a guy a Heisman Trophy here, but whatever. All right. Best play from this game, Drew. What is it?
I am actually not picking the Lockett play because I think that individually the Chris Harper touchdown catch is a better play than the Lockett one.
All right. Respect. I appreciate you going a little out of your way to pick one. That's a good option. I go with the Lockett back corner. It's the icon from this game. It's what got the scoring started. Like it still happened when the game would have, in theory, been in doubt. So I think it has to be that one. And what Chris Harper did was really impressive, but I think that also has a little bit more luck to do. It was a great throw. It was a great catch in the Klein Lockett touchdown that we got to see there. Worst play in this game. Who gets it?
Sean Snyder for allowing Tavon Austin, the one guy that you don't want to kick the ball to score. And it feels very foreshadowing that was going to be an issue later on in the season.
Yeah. That's a what age poorly as well. K-State letting a dynamic kick returner get one back on them that season because we know how the Fiesta Bowl starts.
I would love to see an alternate timeline where K-State isn't down 8-0 in the first 14 seconds of the Fiesta Bowl.
I agree. K-State winning the toss and getting the ball, that would be how I would like to see the game play out. I'm with you. Like there weren't many bad plays in this game for K-State. We didn't show it, but the missed throw that I mentioned to Chris Harper right before a big catch was made, like that's one too where they could have had another big play right there. It didn't matter. They still went and scored on the drive, which is what makes it hard because the starters scored every time they were out there. So they never really had a play that was detrimental to them. And we did not get a behind the back pass like the Miami game. So there's not like a dumb play out there. So I think you're probably right on with the special teams touchdown allowed. For my what age? Well, I gave it to Charles Davis, and I thought he was really good in this game. Once he went to go do NFL games, I guess I kind of took him for granted. I was like, I don't know, does it work as well here? But he was really good in this game, and I really like Joel Klatt doing games, and I was excited when he got that bump up. But this is really reinvigorated my belief in Charles Davis, who now is back as the number one for a network on their college games. He's going to join Brad Nessler on the CBS Big Ten games this year. So this is a good reminder of how good Charles Davis can be calling college football. And I think he's probably got a better home calling college games than like the fourth or fifth best NFL game of the week. He's not getting Sunday Night Football. He's not getting the best Fox or the best CBS game. He's typically getting the second best or third best CBS matchup. He's going to be perfect for CBS's top college football game.
Yeah, he's going to be awesome doing college football again. I had him on What Aged Well as well. He's really good in this setting, and I think that he's really good for the NFL draft because he's so good in college football that he really actually understands and has seen a lot of these players before. Some of the other things that I have that aged well, I put the pink accessories because you could tell this game was in October and that everybody was really leaning into that. And the ref whistle being pink, I thought really stood out, looked nice. And you know what? I'm not afraid to say it. The K-State mask video from this game still holds up. It's still funny.
All right. Drew's a mask guy. Long live.
This one is easily the best one. The rest I could do without, but this one is still hilarious to this day.
Okay, what aged poorly other than West Virginia's season from this point? This was the second of 5 straight losses that they were going to encounter. What else kind of sticks out from this one? We already talked about a few, but
I'm not afraid to step in front of the bullet again because this is also going to be a very popular one. Gus Johnson did not age well.
Oh, yeah. That is a very, very good call.
He has lost his fastball quite a bit. And to be honest, it doesn't really affect us anymore because he doesn't call Big 12 games anymore. But it really grinds my gears when people say that he's in like the upper echelon now of announcers still. And it's like, have you actually listened to Gus Johnson call a game recently? It's not good.
Yeah, it's been a long time since he's been at the top of his game, which is it's so sad because he was the guy. Like when we were in middle school and into high school, like he was the dude. And that was, he wasn't like the number one for some of those until he got to Fox. But people were still like, yeah, he's awesome. He's great. And it's just, I think he's bought into the shtick a little too much. And as you get older, you have to maybe work a little bit harder at some of these things. So it gets over the top, misapplied. It's a hard fall from grace for Gus Johnson. And like you said, we don't have to worry about it too much anymore in the Big 12, fortunately or unfortunately.
We kind of look at it. We do a little bit basketball wise, but like football wise, he's never going to do a Big 12 game again.
Yeah. All right. Grade the broadcasters. Look, we've talked. Gus is still at the peak of his game here. Look, this is before Gus has even been considered to call 2018 World Cup games, which is something that Fox was going to try to have him do. That was a part of this move was, I don't know, it was maybe the next year is when he started doing Champions League on Fox. There's one failed Champions League run. So he was about to do that. Like he was not at the apex of his career yet here. He was about to go down pretty hard. So he's not great when there's not action going on. He's pretty good when there are big plays. Some of the touchdowns, it was a weird game to call those. And we said Charles Davis was awesome. The sideline reporter, I didn't even realize she was there most of the time. She didn't provide too many great things. You did hear him chuckling where she said Bill Snyder is the only man that runs away from her, not to her. In one of the clips, I gave him a B+. That's how good Charles Davis was and how much this era of Gus Johnson I still respect. So maybe it's not fully deserving of this grade, but this tandem in the booth during this era, they deserve it.
No, we're on the same page. I also gave them a B plus. I said there's some really good moments, but this is classic where you still had guys being called the wrong name. Like he got Nigel Malone and Meshack Williams confused at one point, and it's like, that's a tough look.
Yeah.
But
Hey, I know that dyslexia is a thing, but I didn't know that it could confuse the body shape and size of guys. I think Meshack Williams and Nigel Malone look a little different.
But it was solid overall. Charles Davis was really good in this game. And like you said, Gus has great peaks, but when there isn't a lot going on, even back then, he really tried to force some stuff.
Mm-hmm. I will say this. One of the things that this is a broadcaster pickup is that he used on the button pretty close to each other in the same thing. And this is not a criticism because anybody that's done it has had moments like that. But that's something where if he listened back to that, he would be kicking himself going, why did I say the same thing back to back with something that is like that distinct, not necessarily if you say completes the pass a few times in a row, it's like, well, that's what just happened. But it's something that I picked up on from this game. MVP from this one, no doubt that it's Colin Klein, right?
Yeah. I mean, if it's not Klein, I don't know who else it could be. He was awesome in this one.
Well, let's get to underrated player, because it is pretty cut and dry that Colin Klein is the MVP of this game. Where do you go underrated? It's hard to find an underrated player when the offense is this smooth, and it's like there's nothing underrated about what Tyler Lockett did in this game, just other than the fact that we know that Colin had a massive one. Chris Harper had a really nice game, so I don't know that you can say that what he did was underrated with 6 for 96 and a touchdown. So I went defense, and again, also Arthur Brown had a really nice game. I don't know that you say it was underrated, but maybe the defense's performance does get overshadowed by how great the offense was. So you forget Arthur Brown made the first interception of the season on Geno Smith. But if you watch some of it, I thought Ryan Mueller had a really good game. He was in a lot of the stops that kept West Virginia from going anywhere. So I would give a little bit of a shout out to both of those guys on the defense, and they can kind of share the title.
I also went defense. Look at us. Defensive podcast.
Yeah, we love the defense. We think it's great when teams don't score.
I went Meshack Williams. I thought that he had a really nice game also and was pretty disruptive along with Ryan Mueller.
Yeah.
Meshack Williams, I think, ends with 1.5, maybe even 2 sacks. Because I can't remember if they gave the first one to him a full sack, but he played really, really well in this game. And like you said, offense, it's well, John Hubert and Angelo Pease didn't really do a whole lot. But Chris Harper and Tyler Lockett, everything that they did was extremely loud.
Yeah.
So you can't go with them.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Any notable moments from the broadcast for you?
I liked this score bug and wish that they'd bring it back. I also appreciated that the play clock was, if it got down to 5, was different between whichever team had the ball. It would be purple if it was K-State and the blue for West Virginia. We talked about this because we had never heard of the sideline reporter. That having Aaron Andrews be the person in the studio, insane. when we don't really know who the sideline reporter was. And then kind of a sign of the times, but the fact that they did a Fox College Social poll about the most overrated team in the top 10, and they put that on Facebook. It was kind of an interesting thing.
So this was year 1 of Aaron Andrews' Fox contract. So this is her first year at Fox. I'm looking this up now because I also had that written down, was locking her in the studio and doing the Pizza Hut halftime report. You just kind of go, this feels like a waste, you can find about anybody to do studio work. And there are a lot of good studio hosts out there. The studio hosts are the least important part of this job because you're just mainly heavy on the analysts that are there with you. But she was the first host of Fox's college football studio show. Eddie George and Joey Harrington were in there with her. And then at this point, she was only a contributor to the NFL stuff on Fox. Wasn't doing much. I do think, I don't know if she did it this year, but pretty soon after this, she started doing the World Series sideline for them and a few of the other big Fox events. And then let's see, when did she actually? 2014 is when she took over Pam Oliver's #1 sideline reporting job, which at the time, so as Cowboys fan, I heard a lot of Joe Buck, Troy Aikman, Pam Oliver, and the very important development of my sports fandom growing up. I was incensed that they took Pam Oliver off of that crew. I was like, that doesn't make any sense. This is the crew. Like, leave her in there. She's still good. Also, Pam Oliver has a really fascinating story. Like, if you go and read up on any of her stuff, she has like debilitating like migraines and other stuff that like she has to try to fight through when she's working sometimes. So it really kind of impressive what she's been able to do, and she's still working for Fox. But at the time, I was like, this is just so wrong. Like, why are you doing this? But Erin Andrews still at Fox to this day, and has also gotten to do a lot of other, things in her career because of this. She even got to go back to, ABC or Disney for a few things with Dancing with the Stars and hosting that, and plenty of other stuff. So
I am going to take a stab and say if Fox could do it all over again, their #1 crew for college football would have Erin Andrews on the sideline and not being the studio analyst.
Do you think? Well, I think that this would have been the goal all along, because this was the peak of Erin Andrews' star. Like, I think it's weird. She wasn't always doing the top games at ESPN up until really close to the end of her time there. But like, her status had grown to that point, and I think it was already past its peak when she got to Fox. Now, look, she's still really good at her job, and people like. I think Erin Andrews is probably the most recognized sideline reporter of all time, I would guess. But it's just kind of weird to think about like Fox is getting her at the time where she's at her peak, and they just shoved her in the studio for college football of all things. Like, I think college football has been a misvalued product over the years, but I don't know that the best use of Erin Andrews' talents were as a studio host there. But anyways, that's what
I also had written down about the Fox College Social Poll. Hilarious how Notre Dame was like way above everybody else. In the overrated poll. Like, the people were ball knowers then, because that Notre Dame team obviously was not actually.
I mean, put that in a what age well for that season, and really just for entirety from that point on was the overrating of Notre Dame. Random player from this game, we know who it's got to be. Is Braden Wilson. KSO classic figure. Okay, all right. Who'd you go with?
I went Jared Milo because I am so sick of seeing Braden Wilson everywhere.
Okay. All right. Well, that's fine. That's good.
It is funny though that like Braden Wilson gets this, but like I pointed out yesterday, we see BJ Finney quite a bit also.
Yes, we do. All right. What ifs? I think I know yours. I think you're going to say, what if you let Colin just run all these touchdowns in against these other teams, and where is he at?
Am I that predictable? That was definitely where I was going.
We've just talked about it a lot throughout this year.
That's definitely where I was going. Let Colin score more, Bill.
Yeah. Colin Klein at this point in the season. So this was game number 7. He had, after this completes, 9, 10, 11, 4, he had 14 rushing touchdowns at this point. He only had 9 the rest of the way. Had a couple games with 2 and then a few with 1. So he ended up getting a rushing touchdown in every game of the season except for Missouri State, believe it or not. But if you look at the situations that K-State was in, that there were ample opportunities for him to have a few more. And if he gets those as opposed to somebody else, are the numbers gaudy enough to maybe unseat Johnny Manziel? I don't know. I'm looking right now at John Hubert over the end of the season. Hubert gets 2 rushing touchdowns against Tech, 2 against Oklahoma State, and then the 3 against Texas, which feel really painful looking back on them. But
so there were touchdowns available, and they didn't give them to Colin.
Yep. All right, rate the game. What score do you give it?
I give it a 9.5. I know that you're going to go way lower because this wasn't a close game. But this game, it's a 9.5 for me because it's like you're playing at this time because you had already dispatched Oklahoma. This is the new like biggest game of the season. You're playing on the road against a new team to the Big 12, a top 13 team, and you come out and just blitz them. Like it. This is the game that's very satisfying to watch as a fan for the first time, and even again, 14 years later to me, because it's like there were a lot of people that were kind of, I don't say rooting for K-State's downfall, but like I feel like a lot of the time this year there were a lot of people that had K-State as a very popular team to get upset every single week. And I remember being very triggered going into this game because I think that a lot of people on College Game Day picked West Virginia. And I know that I read something that said that that somebody wrote nationally that said West Virginia was going to win. And to just come out and just hammer them, very satisfying.
Yeah, I gave it a 9.1, so maybe not as low as you thought that I was going to go.
Anywhere as low as I thought. I thought that after we talked last week, I thought that you were going to go like 6 for this game.
No. Look, I respect where this is at. I think this is one of the, for a very iconic team and time frame for K-State football. This is with, Miami 2011, A&M 2011, and then like Oklahoma 2012 and Miami 2012 to some extent because it was just a waxing. I think this is one of the standout games from this time period. So I think you have to respect this. Like this is truly one of the great games in K-State football history. I know it's not close, but it's a top 15 matchup on the road and K-State took care of business. And I gave it a 9.1. So I thought maybe something in the 8s, but the more I thought about it, it's like, K-State was so dominant. It is fun to look back on and just understanding the importance of this one. I think that it's a clean game for K-State. Like you can't dot K-State too hard for West Virginia, not being able to do anything. This is different than when we watched what were supposed to be good games and were close games, but it was sloppy and clean. Like, we thought the Holiday Bowl against Arizona State was going to be fun to watch. Like, oh, this is kind of a grind to get through. This was easy watching, fun to look back at, and really, really important for K-State football. So 9.1 is where I go, and that's how we end season 2 of KSO Classic. So the summer is officially over. Game week is here. The next time that we talk to you, it will be going over what Colin Klein had to say ahead of K-State and Nichols next weekend. So we are excited for that, and we'll be able to push off our thoughts on KSO Classic for a few months and then get really excited for season 3 next year.
Yeah, and season 3, I mean, we're including losses. So get ready for that, folks.
Yeah, I mean, it's big of us, I know, to really take a stab at this here. Just to give you a little bit of a tease and some insight into games that we will do next year. I've already said 2012 Miami is on the schedule. We will do that game because it was big. It's there. We are also going to do 2002 USC next year. That is one of the more requested games, a very fun one to look at. And yes, we are going to do some losses. We said one of the first losses we'll do is the Pinstripe Bowl, but don't worry. I believe next year, the preliminary schedule, I have 2 other losses on there. And they're not going to be overly painful to look back on. I don't think, at least. One of those is 2009 Nebraska. That is a special and fun game to me because of the quirk of if K-State wins, they play for the Big 12 title in Bill Snyder's first year back. Instead, they lost. They went 6-6, and since 2 of the wins were against FCS teams, they weren't bowl eligible. Like, what a strange spot to be in. You either go play for a conference title or you don't make a bowl game.
We have four. We have 4 losses on the schedule. Looking at
it. Oh boy. What? Oh yeah. We do have. We'll keep that one tucked away.
Nebraska is probably the most consequential of the losses that we're doing. I would say.
In terms of what was on the line, yes. But you think about it, I think like that 2011 Oklahoma State game. In hindsight, you think about it as being really, if K-State wins, they they grab a share and all this other stuff. I mean, if K-State wins that one, they would be the one that went to the Fiesta Bowl that year, will they? Yeah, because Oklahoma lost multiple games that season, I'm pretty sure. So they weren't even in the tiebreaker because OSU won it outright. So if K-State had won that, then K-State would have had the tiebreaker over Oklahoma State, I believe.
We also have, kind of like we had this past year, we have a couple modern day games like in the 2020s.
Yep.
Including one extremely fun one that you and I were both at not too long ago.
Yep. We have games from 4 different decades on tap for KSO Classic next year. The 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, and the 2010s. Actually, no, it's 5 decades because we also have some 2020s. So
we have 5 decades in this KSO Classic. And, you know, if you're a K-State historian, you probably know the game that we're doing in the 80s because it's the only one that we could find. It's gonna be the only one that we have that's pre-Bill Snyder that we ever have, I think.
Yep. Yeah, and you're right. We will probably never have another non-Snyder game on KSO Classic. So that is the look ahead to next year, but we can wait at least for a couple months because we have real football talk coming your way on Monday as we get set for the season to finally be here. So enjoy week 0, and we appreciate everybody joining us throughout this summer and KSO Classic, and excited for anybody that just found us to stick with us and follow our coverage all season long at K-State Online.